Hi everyone, Donna here with another vlog, and I wanted to do this one just as like a recap slash what I thought when we was on Anthem. As you know, that general rule of thumb, I don't do vlogs like this. I do everyday kind of vlogs, but I wanted to share with you what I really enjoyed about being on this ship before she repositions to Asia. Without further ado, let's get this video on the go. So Anthem of the Seas is a quantum class ship, and she is 168,666 gross tons, and she's 1,141 foot long. She is 16 decks high, and she can hold 4,905 guests and 1,500 crew. Carl and I have been on Anthem 3 times now, but she is my 4th cruise with Royal Caribbean. My first one was Independence of the Seas, which is a firm favourite of ours. But Anthem has been in the UK, sailing out of Southampton for 3 years, and those 3 years we have been on board. When we got to Southampton and stayed the night in the hotel before boarding the ship, we actually was there a little bit earlier than our boarding time of 12 o'clock. It was very quiet, and as it turned out that everybody was off the ship way before our boarding time. Assessing the situation that we had, we actually went in and followed the procedures that we were told to do. We went through security. Carl chose to embarrass me in security. And we were actually in the waiting room from the entrance in 20 minutes and then on board the ship in that same time frame as well. It was fast. We were informed that we couldn't go in our cabins until 2 o'clock, but at 1 o'clock we heard over the tannoy that all staterooms were open, so they were open an hour early. So the first thing we did is finished our drinks and we headed to our cabins. I didn't do a room tour for our cabin for the simple reason that there are so many out there on YouTube, and this was generally just a vlog about our trip as opposed to a travel vlog of what to expect when you go on a cruise ship, yada yada yada. So I got everything unpacked within the half an hour, and we explored the ship a little bit. Sarah and Carl were super happy that they were on board for the very first time, and I was super happy that I was able to record their reactions when they stepped onto the ship for the first time. From what we could tell, the cabin looked very clean and tidy. We had a lovely stateroom attendant, and I can't remember what his name was. It was In Your Man or something. And we were on deck 13 on the port side. So I'd definitely give him a shout out because he was lovely. And we also want to shout out to Jen, the head waiter, and her assistant waiter John, who were in the dining room, the grand dining room, and they were lovely. We didn't get a chance to see them again towards the end of the cruise after we make some adjustments to our reservations for the specialty restaurants, but they are lovely people and a credit to Royal Caribbean. First day that we were at sea on the way up to Norway, I spent a lot of it asleep on the pool deck that I actually nearly ended up with sunburn. I was just so tired. Even after an early night in bed, I was super tired. However, that's when Sarah felt a little bit motion sickness coming on and had a nap, and I went onto the bumper cars, which were a lot of fun. We loved the bumper cars, but again, Carl couldn't go on it because he had the wrong shoes on, so it was just me on my lonesome. The day was really chilled out and relaxed, so we had no trouble at all having a nice calm day, and then we ventured to the main dining room. This one was different to the one that we usually go to, which was Silk. Then we were actually in the Grand this time, which was a lot quieter. There were a few familiar faces in regards to the crew. There was the guy there who was originally in Chops Grill, and he signed up to specialty restaurants, but he was then working in Jamie's Italian. A photographer that I recognised, another waiter that was in Chops Grill, and there was also someone else who I can't remember. So familiar faces on the ship again. We were able to get in touch with Royal Caribbean to combine our 2 bookings together for dining into one, so that we were all sat at a table for 4 with wheelchair access for Carl as well. And they did get the message because we went to check with the maitre d' at the restaurants, and it turned out that they had already dealt with the situation for us. They just never got back to us about it. Apart from that, food was quick, everything was nice. The head waiter and her assistant waiter were very lovely people. As I said before, they are a credit to Royal Caribbean. They were lovely. Even John went above and beyond. When we were leaving the dining room, he escorted Carl out in his wheelchair right the way down the corridor out of the dining room itself when we were ready to leave. So, good man. When we was in Bergen, we didn't dock until 12:30. We don't know why that is, but it just depends on many circumstances involving the cruise ships and the ports. And we went onto the funicular railway. It was forecast to be quite drizzly over the time that we were away, but it never happened. It was red hot for the duration of the holiday. We got up onto the top of to the end of that funicular railway, and the views over Bergen were splendid. Absolutely loved them. And there's me thinking that you couldn't top that, and I was so wrong. It took us about 20 minutes to get to the funicular railway. We were waiting for a special bus, but by the time it took for us to get onto the bus, it was quicker for us just to walk over to the station, so that's what we did. And then it didn't take us that much longer to get back to the ship as well. So also we did that too. It was 6 and 2 3s. We only did one formal night when we was on the ship, and we did Chops Grill and got some photos together, and they turned out really, really well. So we snapped those up very quickly. And Sarah and Carl got their own, and it was like a group photo of the 4 of us together. That was interesting because the poor photographer had to sandwich himself into a corner to get us all 4 of us into the frame. Carl naturally had his steaks flashed, practically still on his plate with a heartbeat, whereas I do like my meat dead. And it was a really, really lovely evening. It was an absolutely amazing evening. It was fabulous. We did quaff a considerable amount of lavender martinis, or rather I did, and they were a bit too lemony, so when I did ask them if they could decrease the amount of lemon they put in it, it was perfect. It was fabulous. I was drinking a lot of them. They were fantastic. Our waiter, he was on the ship in September, and he was also serving in Chops Grill. He was very lovely. I don't think he remembered us very much. I think he remembered us a little bit. But we did ask him when he's going home and stuff like that, and it was a nice little chat with him. Carl got to experience the Bionic Bar and a variety of other bars that were on the ship. That was nice. We never got to do that pub crawl that we were going to discuss doing. When we got to Alden, it was again chilly, but absolutely beautiful weather, perfect weather to get up the skylift. And not only that, the views were absolutely incredible up there. And the bonus thing is we got to see base jumpers. It was fabulous. But even at the top of a mountain where there's still snow and everything, it was red hot up there. And again, it was supposed to be forecast rain. I saw a really nice coat that I would have liked to have in Oldham, but they didn't have it in my size, so I had to hit that one on the head. But then I did later find it in Garanga, so I did buy it in Garanga, and it is a lovely coat. It's thin, but it's got a fleecy lining inside of it, so I was quite happy with that. I don't want to give too much away in terms of the places that we went that's already in the vlogs and stuff, because I want Norway to be a nice surprise for people that have never cruised before or haven't done Norway before. It is absolutely worth it. It is just absolutely spectacular. Garanga is our favourite port, mine and Carl's personally. We absolutely love Garanga. Sailing through the Garanga fjords at the early hours of the morning, despite the wind, was lovely. I did try to hide some ducks that morning. I got myself some breakfast, a salmon and cheese croissant. Oh, it looks beautiful. And I also managed to get my coconut cookies, which are really, really tasty in there. I love the coconut cookies, and it's going to be a while before I can have them. I also managed to drink the mango dragon fruit, which I didn't realise it was there until like day 5. But I also do love that Starbucks drink. In the UK, it's just not the same. The one thing that I thought that was quite interesting that me and Carl did pursue while we was on the cruise ship was the tier matching between me and him. We saw on the website that it was as long as the person, your spouse or significant other, and you're living with them, they can actually tier match with you. Carl did ring Royal Caribbean to pursue it, but they didn't do anything at the time. So while I was on board, we went to the loyalty ambassador and had a chat with him and explained everything. We showed him our driver's licenses, which a UK driver's license, I don't know about the US, has our home address on, and both my partner and I have that same address on our licenses. My partner's parents have been cruising for quite a while, about 20 years or so, so naturally Carl's tier matched theirs, and he is standing at Diamond Plus. But obviously when he turned 18, he stops accruing their points and starts building his own points. But he still remains a Diamond Plus tier member. So we thought we'd go to the loyalty ambassador and see if I can match with him so that my points can accrue in the background, but I still get the benefits of what he gets. Lo and behold, after we'd showed the guy our IDs, our driver's licenses, he asked for my CPass card, so I handed it over to him and he threw it away. And he printed out a new CPass card and my tier status had changed to Diamond Plus. And I remember Carl smirking at me and grinning at me because I'm stood there and I'm like, I've just got up to Diamond Plus out of nowhere. I was like, what the hell? I was so happy about it. It was great. And I was really kind of glad that we did have Diamond Plus, because you get like one photo free and then you get another one for like 30% off. And we managed to get 4 photos for cheap. 2 free and 2 for like 30% off. You just can't beat that kind of discount at all. So naturally we did. And then I bought a photo album on top as well. So I was actually really pleased about how that turned out. So Carl wanted to try the Crown Lounge to see if my CPass card worked on their little zappy scanner thing. So we thought, okay, we'll give it a try. So we went down to the Crown Lounge and he says, right, use your card. And I zapped my card on the door and it let me in. And I was like, oh my God. And it was so peaceful and quiet. I am one of them people who doesn't do well in crowds at the best of times. I get a little bit like, oh, don't like it, you know, too many people, too much going on. Really kind of upsets me a little bit. So sitting in that Crown Lounge where it was quiet and peaceful was like, this is bliss. This is where I like to hide, to get away from people barging up and down the corridors, through the Royal Promenades or the Esplanades, wherever it is you end up, and it gets too crowded and it gets a little bit overwhelming for me. So hiding away in the Crown Lounge has definitely got its benefits for me. Now people are going to say, well, why are you going on a cruise ship when you know it's busy? The ships are that big, it does scatter people around. But if you've got things like formal night, it can get a little bit like that, people trying to get round, especially when you've got a friend who's in a wheelchair whose legs are going to get bashed and people aren't really with the spatial awareness, can get a little bit too much. So hiding away in that Crown Lounge was just bliss. It was lovely. It was great. We didn't do any shows personally. Carl was going to go to We Will Rock You with Carl and Sarah, but he had such a stinking headache he ended up just leaving it and having a nap to try and fight that headache with some painkillers. And we actually managed to pack everything into one big suitcase, a suit bag, and 2 small suitcases, then a couple of rucksacks for like my iPad and stuff like that, which I was really happy about because I knew we could do it. And yes, I bought vacuum packs, which unfortunately did not work for going, but they were okay for coming back from Southampton. So I had to pack the case normally, and then when we came back, all the clean clothes went into a vacuum bag and the rest of the dirty stuff went on top and the case closed. But when it comes to the vacuum packs, I've learned that they're not the most practical for packing to go away, but they're actually better for when you're coming back. So I can make use of the vacuum packs for other things. I mean, I've got no problem with that at all. I've got a few things that could benefit from going in a vacuum bag, that I can say. But for the time being, we're fine with what we've got and everything worked. I had all my little gadgets and gizmos and clips and stuff in a bag with everything else, my poopery spray, everything. It was all in there. And it just worked really well. So when we go to Miami, it's going to be a little bit harder. So I'm thinking 2 suitcases, 1 small one, like a cabin one, and rucksacks for like being on the plane and stuff like that. So the small case will have electricals, which means we would have to take them out at the airports at security, probably. unless they lift the whole liquids and electronics thing that they've got, that they're trying to do at the minute. So that'd be really good as well. And we'll be doing a transatlantic back to Southampton on Independence of the Seas, which, yes, I've only sailed on her once, but out of her and Anthem, I do prefer her. We also participated in Crazy Quest. We couldn't get to the front for Carl's benefit, but we were quite close to it. And there were things that happened in the show, which is why it's an 18+. There were things like you need to have 3 bras, so I threw my bra off and lobbed it at the front. Because why not? We're all adults and we all have a good time. That's what we're there for. And the other one was also if you have a piercing from the neck down. Naturally, I have a piercing in a certain place, and the presenter actually made a comment after I'd shown her where that piercing was, and it was actually quite funny. I wanted to get the footage for it, but Carl decided to record it on Snapchat and it's gone. So that did make me pretty sad on that side of it. But Crazy Quest is definitely a show you have to try, and it's actually funnier when people have had a few drinks as well. Carl and I were booked to go on North Star, and that's not my Carl, that is Sarah's Carl. We were booked to go on North Star, but we cancelled it at the last minute when I was in Granga because we'd lost track of time and we'd realised what the time was, we wouldn't make it back. So we didn't do that this time round, and we didn't do anything involving the flow rider. However, there was wheelchair access to get up the steps to the flow rider, so someone in a wheelchair or some sort of mobility aid can actually enjoy watching people on flow rider itself, or even on iFly, which I thought was pretty decent. This cruise was literally going to be one of those where you just chilled out and relaxed, and you just took things as it came. Chilled by the pool, ate ice cream. Pretty sure Carl was trying to eat himself halfway through a ship. Overall, the cruise was absolutely fantastic. It's fantastic when it's just me and the hubby, but it was really nice as well having other people with us. We really enjoyed ourselves. They already want to book a cruise ship holiday again for next year, but there's certain things they need to sort out first. We are looking forward to sailing on Indy when the time comes. Flight fares are all in as they should be. And yeah, it's gonna be another great holiday coming up, and having the perks of a Diamond Plus will go a long way as well. Deluxe package was pretty decent for us for the amount of alcohol that we did drink when we was away, so that is beneficial to have. And if anybody's never done a cruise before who want to try, please do so. A lot of people think that it's overrated, people think that it's not what it seems, and you've got to form your own opinion when it comes to going on cruise ships. They are incredible, incredible pieces of machinery that you just have your holiday on. They're brilliant. Please try it. If you've enjoyed this vlog, I would love it if you tap subscribe, hit that bell, and I will be resuming to normal vlogs when I get these shifts at work out of the way. But until then, I'll see you guys real soon in the next vlog. Bye for now.